Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays for you in the Western Alliance Era 2 Premium Heavy Tank, the Chieftain Hybrid 120. Now this is an absolutely fantastic Era 2 Premium tank. It's so good. Don't be fooled by the fact that it's a heavy tank. I mean, by the time you get into most of the way through Era 2, heavy tank, tank destroyer, light tanks, etc., those classification systems just don't work anymore. This is an MBT. And it's more like, if you were to think in the traditional sense, it's more like a medium tank than it is a heavy tank. Do not play it like a heavy tank, like an FV4211, for example, where you think, yeah, I'm going to get stuck in and I'm going to bounce all the shots, because you probably won't. This tank has more akin to a Leopard than it does to the FV4211, right? And in terms of its playstyle, because it's the type of tank you want to be flanking and you want to be spanking. And you have absolutely fantastic assets for it. Naturally, you don't have good camo like a Leopard 1A1, for example, but you have a gun that is just as good. I mean, you've got 418 pen on the standard, with 483 on the premium, with 530 alpha, which means that you're going to pen everything you're going to face. I mean, you don't really have too much trouble with 4211s, for example, when you fire the premium, which is great. You also have absolutely unbelievable hesh. You've got 290 penetration on this 120mm pen, 120mm HE hesh round. For 680 alpha, there is so much you can pen for 290 with hesh. And once you start slapping them for 680, oh my lord, is it filthy. I absolutely love it. It's such an asset for you to use on this tank. Do not sleep on the hesh, because you can just do stuff like that. For 606 through that T62. Because he's sat in a place you can do it, I mean, that was a low roll. I've got 680 alpha. But you can do that. But then you've also got absolutely fantastic APDS rounds on the standard, the APCR, you know, the APDS rounds. You've got fantastic in those rounds, and the fact that obviously I've just mentioned the penetration, but also like 1530 shell velocity as well. The accuracy is 0.21 with the setup you're going to hear from me. I think the base accuracy is 0.27. It's got a 1.53 second aim time with the setup I've got, which I think base is 1.7, I want to say. I cannot understate how good this gun is. It is absolutely fabulous. As I miss a shot. Absolutely fabulous, this gun. And it is the asset of the tank. So you want to make it as good as it can be. Add to that, you've got like 5.6k DPM with the setup I've got. Yeah, the DPM, the gun handling on this tank is utterly phenomenal. You've got a 65 km/h top speed as well, which means you are absolutely speedy and you're fantastic for getting into those aggressive positions to get flanking with. Just try and keep yourself out of the eye line of the enemy where they can start trying to hit you, because that's where it starts to fall down. Now, you do have a Chieftain turret, or is it, I think it's the Chieftain Mark 5 turret, possibly, and that means that you might bounce the odd shot, but to be honest, the Chieftain turret in Era 2 is pretty poo, and unless you get that lucky ricochet, I don't know how we didn't get penned by that Sheridan's ATGM there. But yeah, unless you get ricochets from APDS rounds and stuff like that, which can happen, naturally, angles are a thing. For the most part, because everything has like, you know, 400-500 pen, they're going to go straight through your turret front if you're hull down. So this is why I'm saying it's not a heavy tank in the slightest. It may say it's a heavy tank, but it's not. Play it like a medium tank. If you go with that theory of playing the tank, it is absolutely fabulous. And I think at the point of releasing this video, it is 6,000 gold on the weekly thing, which is utterly fantastic. It's that, what a deal. You're going to get a tank that makes you absolute bucket loads of silver, is a hell of a lot of fun to play, and yeah, you'll have a pretty damn good time with it. Naturally, it doesn't have much spaced armor on it, so it is susceptible to ATGMs like a lot of tanks, and like I said, the armor on it is not that good. You may ricochet the odd shell here and there, which can be useful, but for the most part, don't rely on the armor, and if ATGMs come at you, they're probably going to pen, unless you're unlucky like Sheridan was. So what do I run in terms of a crew on the Chieftain Hybrid 120? Well, I do run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Track Mechanic, Clutch Braking, and Rapid Aim. Rapid aim to make the turret traverse as good as possible, because I like to get the, the turret snapped on target as quickly as I can do. Again, keeping the great asset that is this gun on target and just keep the DPM spitting out. I run clutch braking to make it feel that little bit nippier in terms of turning the hull and helping with that mobility, because the mobility is really good. I think I get it up to 48 degrees a second with the hull rotation with clutch braking, which is really, really nice. And yeah, all the gun perks, because, well, the asset, like I say, the asset of this tank is how good this gun is. So I just want to make sure that I am making it as good as it humanly can be, and so that I do not need, well, I don't need vert stabs, basically. And in terms of equipment, I do run rapid aim? No. Advanced loader. We'll get there in the end. So, equipment, advanced loader, advanced reload, and ventilation. So we run the advanced loader to make our DPM 10% better, the advanced loader for shots like you've just seen, and the vents to make everything about the tank as good as it can be. So we run the ammo swapper so that I can switch to HESH where and when I need to, because the HESH is a very good asset. And when you're facing things like Ignises, like Leopards, like light tanks, like anything that's got weak armor, like yourself in a Chieftain Hybrid 120 through the upper or lower plate, you will butcher them with 680 damage. Of course, you'll get the HE problem where sometimes you just don't pen, but for the most part, you will do a hell of a lot of damage with it, and it can be very, very nice. And then ventilation, because I want to make sure everything as good as possible, like basically making the DPM as good as humanly can be, because it is absolutely fantastic on this tank, and then adding to the aim time and stuff like that. And like I say, advanced loader, you always want to make your DPM 10% better. I mean, in terms of vents, if you really wanted to, you could run the traction system instead, and you would go at 71 kilometers an hour instead of 65. It's completely down to you. It's only a template, really, for how you want to set. That's how I run it, but how I run it isn't always correct, right? It's down to how you feel you want to set the tank up. If you want to go at 71 kilometers an hour instead of just having that little bit better DPM, go at 71 kilometers an hour instead, right? It's completely down to you. But yeah, I absolutely love this tank. I think it's an absolute beast, and you can just have an absolute whale of a time with it. That's where the HE can let you down, shooting at spaced armor like on a Sheridan, by the way. But you can just have an absolute whale of a time, just because this gun is so filthily good that you can just absolutely wreck people. And having such good penetration on all 3 rounds, having the really good mobility, except for when you shoot the side of 41-1s, clearly. Having really good mobility and stuff like that, you can just... It's just so much fun. I honestly love this thing. I really do. And we finished that first game on Nomini Nom with the victory, 5 kills, 11,186, 4.7k assistance nearly. The ace tanker at 1,893 base XP. So what's that? That's like 15k combined. Pretty damn nice game for the Chieftain 120 there on Nomini Nom. And now we're on to the second replay, which is on Siegfried Line. And really, the way that this thing wants to play, it wants to be playing that peekaboom playstyle, and it wants to be, like I say, playing that flanking playstyle. If you play it very much like you would do a Leopard, you'll have a great time with it, because like I say, this gun is just dirty. It's so dirty. I can't understate how good the gun and the DPM is on this tank. And if you know where to position yourself and position yourself well, you will have a good time. The problem with it, naturally, is the fact that it doesn't have much armor. So if you were to get YOLO'd by something like an Ignis or, one of those YOLO-y light tanks that can shred you in the blink of an eye, well, it's not going to go very well for you, naturally. You will hurt them a lot, but yeah, they'll still not have too much of a problem with you. So it's just one of those things you've got to be very, very careful of. You don't want to get yourself isolated, and like I say, you want to get yourselves into just good farming positions. So that's why I've started off at this position at F5 on Siegfried Line, because you can try and get to there, you can spot people as they're going along the B line, and potentially get some nice damage off as you go. So right there is a problem with the HE sometimes. Obviously, it doesn't pen spaced armor or tracks, and we hit the tracks that Centurion 9 and didn't pen it, but we did pen for 668 through his lower plate. Then we switched back to the APCR so that we could pen his lower plate, because there was only, it was very chancy to even hit that shot, so we didn't want a chance just not penning with the HE, because you always want to know where you're going to sort of get a guaranteed pen when you're firing the HE. Because you do have to be careful with the HESH, because it is significantly slower than the APDS, because the APDS is 1530 on this tank, and it's yeah, only 660 meters a second shell velocity on the Hesh. So if you're firing at distance, bear that in mind. It is slow, okay? And you will watch the shell loop if you're not careful. So we got a nice shot into that T-72 to track it. We didn't pen it, but we did track it, which meant we got a load of tracking assist, which is always beautiful, and then we got to finish him off. Now we get a shot into the T-72 AV that's coming after us. We've loaded premium because that will guarantee go through the AV, and our standard 418 pen might struggle a little bit with it. And we are just peppering this guy. You're seeing how fast this tank fires. This guy has just not been able to react. He's taken, what, 1,000 hit points off us? We took his whole tank in the blink of an eye. As it's just how good this gun is. Unfortunately, the other AV gets a shot into us, and we just clutch the shot into the rock. But we do go for the shot straight into the drive wheel of the AV, which we get a bit of tracking on him. We're going to go for the retrack, which unfortunately doesn't pen. But it does keep him retracked. We're now going for the kill shot on the M1. We do get the shot to finish off that T-62 M1. The AV unfortunately has got away, though, because he did manage to repair his tracks. But maybe he'll drive in front of us. I'm just being careful because I am only on 1,300 hit points so far. We're up to 6.1k damage and 2.7k assistance. And I want to get more from this game. We've got one thing that is a thing with... Oh my god, that gun is so perfectly, annoyingly placed. There is one thing that his tank will suffer from, that if you end up having games where you fight, because of how good the DPM is, you'll notice I've got 10 rounds of standard, 12 APDS, and, what, premium APDS, and then 7 of Hesh. Ammo could be a possibility of a problem, but you do have a lot of damage potential, so as long as you're hitting your shots, you shouldn't be too bad, really. And we do manage to get the shots in to kill that Leopard. That dead wreck was a really awkward spot. And here we've switched to the Hesh for the M60, which we ended up penning for nearly 700. We switched to the APDS. It's all about ammo management. When we were shooting at the T-62 side, we weren't going to pen it with Hesh. So I switched back to the APDS to be able to pen it, and then we went for the M60 with Hesh as well, and that didn't work because we were stupid. 711! 711 round here. Straight into that T-62. The Hesh pens are filth in this thing. And unfortunately, I thought I might actually just be able to splash him to death with the HE with how much HP he was on. Maybe I'd pen it through the spaced armor. But it just didn't work, and we didn't quite get the kill on that T-62. We go for the shot into the Leopard, but unfortunately we hit the ridge line. I'm just waiting for the reload now to shut down this AV, which we get in. That puts us onto a Top Gun for our 6th kill. Just imagine if we'd actually fired APDS and killed the other tank behind us. We're going after the M60A2, but unfortunately he gets shut down. Just trying to get the gun down to shoot the M113, but unfortunately we ended up shooting over the top of him. But we do get the shot in to ram him to death, which is always great. But unfortunately, he got shot into me, which means I'm now a one-shot for the weapon 185. We're on 7 kills with 10.8k damage. We come over onto the Leopard 185, fire Hesh. I was aiming for the lower plate, but unfortunately I missed. And the M60 rams him and the 1A1 shuts him down. We couldn't quite secure our 8th kill of the game, but we do finish the game with the epic victory. 7 kills, 11,071 damage, 3.2k assistance, the ace tanker, 2,000 base XP. And yes, as you could tell, both these replays were before Cold War medals. 2 fantastic games in the Chieftain Hybrid 120, which is honestly an absolutely fantastic medium tank. Ignore the fact that it says heavy, it's a medium tank. Absolutely fantastic medium tank. 6,000 gold, I don't think you can't go wrong with that. It's an absolutely fantastic tank. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!